Hey, yo, what's good? October 1st, 1975 was the date. Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. 3. This was the third chapter of their classic rivalry. And you know that these men hated each other. Joe Frazier especially hated Muhammad Ali, who would prance around calling him a gorilla and punching a doll of a gorilla and saying it's Joe Frazier. And this would just enrage Frazier. He genuinely, you could see it. All these antics bothered him. And this especially showed in their third fight. Man, this fight is just two men, man, in tip-top shape, world class, giving it their all, trying to hurt each other, trying to beat the other man. And it's fights like these that prove who's the better man in the ring. Not just who's the better boxer, who's the better man. Overall, this is what proved it. Who has a bigger heart, who could take a better punch. And really, they could both do it. They could both take a hell of a punch. They could both dish it out. They both had amazing stamina. But Eddie Futch stopped it at the end of the 14th. The pace for this fight was incredible, man. Ali took some body shots from Joe Frazier throughout the fight. It said that he had hematomas on both of his hips after this fight because of all those, quote, well-placed body shots by Joe Frazier. His head was filled with bumps. Joe Frazier's face was swollen. Both of his eyes were almost swollen shut, man. This was a brutal fight, but it's a work of art as well, man. Just two proud men dishing out punishment in the ring that neither of them wanted to be denied victory. And both of these men deserve respect for this fight and for everything they gave fans in their career. And I really just can't stand when someone disrespects Muhammad Ali or Joe Frazier, because they gave the fans everything that they had. From Thrilla in Manilla, how the hell could you disrespect Muhammad Ali just from watching that? Everything else aside, just watch Thrilla in Manila, and I want to see how you could disrespect either of these men. That makes me sick, man. How you could disrespect a man with Parkinson's right now and a man that passed away a few years ago. So that's what you're disrespecting when you're disrespecting these legends, man. You're disrespecting their legacies and everything they stood for back then. And what this fight stands for is what boxing stands for. Pride, integrity, strength, hard work, man. Fighting. Boxing is just another form of fighting. A lot of people want to sugarcoat it, but this is what it is. This is what fans want to see. And yes, there has never been another fight like Thrilla in Manila. They described it as 14 rounds of pure hell. Muhammad Ali says it's the closest he's ever been to death. That's how brutal this fight was. But that's how much they wanted it. For themselves, it was for Muhammad Ali's title. He was making his 13th title defense. But this was for themselves. More importantly, they weren't fighting for a belt, for a trinket, not even for money. They were fighting for themselves, for their pride to say, I beat you, Joe. That's what Muhammad Ali was fighting. And so was Joe Frazier. And really, man, 40 years ago. And this fight still holds up against every single fight in history, including their first fight, which was a classic as well, where Joe Frazier, well, he was the champion, but he handed Muhammad Ali his first ever loss. Let me see. Jerry Eisenberg, he was a sports journalist at the time, and he says that it was so hot in Manila that day that with the lights and everything heading towards the ring, that it must have been 110 degrees inside the ring. Just imagine that type of fight. And in that type of weather, in that type of heat, man, it's incredible. It's amazing what these men put their bodies through, what these men went through. Man, and anyone that had a chance to see this live, it's so cool to think about. Like, you experience this. This is history, guys. This is what happened. And this means so much to everybody. These men were never the same. Joe Frazier, he only fought twice after this fight. Muhammad Ali did fight a couple killers after this. You got that Larry Holmes fight, that infamous now Leon Spinks fight. You got Ernie Shavers, Jimmy Young, Kenny Norton. So he still went on in box for another 6 years after this, but he was never the same, really. He was never the same. Neither men were in their lives. And just seeing how Muhammad Ali was or is right now and how he was back then, you could see that this contributed to how he is right now. But that's just how much he loved the fans, how much he loved the sport, and how much he loved testing himself and giving it his all in the ring. And all I ask is to appreciate these fighters for everything they did and everything they gave in the ring. Because this is the definition of the fight called leave it in the ring. So, appreciate Muhammad Ali, man. Appreciate his efforts right now that he's alive. Don't disrespect him, and don't let anyone else disrespect him, because they are damn fools. So, yeah, I want to thank Muhammad Ali for all he's done for humanity in general, man. Great, man. Joe Frazier did a lot for his community as well, and I'm so glad to see that they finally made that freaking statue in Philly when they had that Rocky statue for years. And you had Joe Frazier, who was probably just recently retired, and that Rocky statue went up. And he's like, dude, you got a Philly fighter here, and he's real, and he's alive. But at least they're honoring his legacy now, and he will not be forgotten, especially for that long tradition of Philly fighters who's got a lot of pride in their fighting, especially in Philly. So pay your respects to Muhammad Ali now that he's still alive, guys. Because the day that he dies, it'll be a sad day for the whole wide world, not just boxing, but for the world. And Joe Frazier, may you be resting in peace right now, brother. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Peace.